there is a lady in black that is said to sing lullabies to her child, baby Lester. And there is a old pine tree stump that is in the middle of the cemetery. And legend goes that the woman in black will be seen walking from the road up to the cemetery, sits down on this stump, and sings lullabies to her baby. And people have claimed to have seen her ever since the 1960s. And the Crabites predated this ghost story. Some people say that the lady in black passed away with her far after her husband and this baby died in either a carriage wagon accident or a car accident. And both the husband and the baby are buried there. And it is true, Mr. Lester and the baby are buried next to each other, but there is no female buried anywhere near them. And in my book, I do have a picture of their headstones, which lie flat, flush to the ground. So the woman is said to sing lullabies. The problem is that the stump that currently exists is about 50 feet away from the headstones. So unless she is screaming lullabies from the top of her lungs, I can't understand how she would be singing them to that particular headstone.
The operatic version.
Yeah.
Look, everyone, it's Lady Gaga in the middle of the cemetery.
Or maybe the trees just branched out.
Yeah, maybe. Well, what it is that the original stump that is in the urban legend does not exist anymore. It was uprooted by there was two gentlemen, and their names are eluding me right now. The Wells. They owned a lumber yard, and their family, after the Step family, the Wells family actually purchased and eventually sold the land to the state of Indiana. But the cemetery itself is part of the Step Wells family. And these two gentlemen were part descendants of the original farmers of the area. They owned a lumber yard. And when lightning struck a tree, I believe it was a birch tree, that actually created this stump that looked like a chair. It actually looked more like a love seat because it was a double growing birch tree. That was removed in the mid 80s because of wood rot. So the stump that you see today is a newer tree that had to be taken down because of lightning strike. It is disgusting to touch because some of the urban legends that I did collect, people urinate on this stump. They
Why?
burn. Why? Because they think they're being cool and dissing the woman in black who doesn't exist. Um, I know there's lots of candle wax on a lot of the headstones, especially on this stump, from rituals. The candle wax that I found was a multitude of colors, from white to red to black, green, you name it. I found candle wax, other paraphernalia that I would assume would go along with occult activities.
Well,
Occult,
fortunately, Marla has an alibi because
yeah. But what's really sad and upsets me the most about this cemetery is there's only one original Step family headstone intact in the cemetery. There were over 170 people buried there from that family over the past century. And we only got one headstone
Wow.
because high schoolers and college students would take them as souvenirs. And a few of them landed in the Martinsville High School pool as a senior prank.
uh,
Wow.
So,
Sad.
the late,
actually, just the surname Stepwell sounds very Dickensian for a surname.
yeah, the Step family,
Yeah.
and then the Walls family. Yeah, there was another one in between them, but most of the people buried there are a Step or Walls family. One was I believe a physics teacher at Indiana University, and I love his headstone epitaph says "Never at rest," which is a physics joke because particles never
Yes.
rest.
Right.
I would think it'd also be a musical joke too.
Yeah. Ah, that's a good one. Yeah. That would make more sense, but he was a physics teacher.
Well, our time is, zipping right along. So I think what we'll do is we'll end up taking us another generous break. Let everybody stretch their legs, save their voice, and get ready for the last part of the show, which I still have questions, and I'm sure that Cece should have at least 4 or 5 more.
I do.
And I'm sure that Jeff has probably got some too, but he's kind of busy writing the show up, so.
and getting ready to do outros. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
What's that now?
At least for this week, anyway. So, so why don't you go ahead and take us out, Jeff?
Okay, well, you're listening to the Paranormal View on power-x.com with our guest, Kat Klockow, and tonight's co-host, Cece Barbara Duncan. So stay tuned, or during your slumber, Kat may send over to your place for one-time visiting black-eyed kids.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Paranormal View right here on the Para-X Radio Network. I want to welcome everybody back. The chat room has got lots of people in there, and there's a couple 100,000 listening from around the world. Speaking of that, tonight I want to thank the listeners. We have them from the U.S., from Ireland, from the U.K., from Switzerland, and from that one place called Other. We have 7 of them. So, welcome. But if you're not here with us in the chat room, come over to para-x.com and join us in the chat room. You'll have a great time in here with all these wonderful people. So I want to welcome back Kat Klockow.
Hello.
And Cece.
Hello.
And Jeffrey.
Hello.
Yeah, all right. Great show tonight. Everybody seems to really be enjoying it. So I do have quite a few questions and stuff, and I know Cece's got a bunch left. So if you've got one you want to start out with, or you want me to start out, that's fine.
Oh, go ahead, Henry.
Oh, well, thank you.
Actually, I have Ohio Dave simply made a non sequitur reference earlier. I was curious about whether Kat could Minor Avenue in Lindenwold.
Oh yeah, that's it's a private residence, and they won't let anybody go in there to investigate. Lots of people has tried, but no one has ever been successful getting in there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have the house foreclosed and just take it for ourselves. Oh wait, no.
Well, now I do know that Kat has investigated a few places. She's been with me a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
We did a couple private residences, and we also did the Post-Town School.
Yes. I forgot to mention that when you asked me about Cincinnati haunts.
And,
Post-Town Elementary School.
Yep. That is a spooky-looking place, kind of, but they're also going to be having the Mid-Ohio Paranormal Convention there. And
Yep.
I believe that is, and I wrote it down just so I wouldn't forget it.
I believe it's April 27th, 28th, and maybe the 29th.
That's it, yes.
Yeah.
And
During my birthday weekend? What?
yeah.
Happy birthday!
So there's going to be lots of great people there, and you'll be able to also do an investigation with them. The Booth Brothers is going to be there, Rick Hayes, just on and on and on. You can go just type in Mid-Ohio Conference, and you can see the guest list that they're going to have. Keith Age is going to be there. So we also we was in Music Hall in Cincinnati.
Yes. Oh man,
I
why did I
not
forget that one too?
I did not get to investigate there, but it seemed to be a pretty nice place. But they said that there is some ghosts that are in there.
Oh, if there was any place that would be prime for ghost hunting, it's the Cincinnati Music Hall, because it is located on top of several feet of human bones.
Used to be a graveyard.
It was a pauper's grave.
Yep.
Before that, it was an orphanage and an insane asylum.
Right.
So
Sweet.
when they just finished, I believe, the Washington Avenue parking garage, and when they were excavating it, they were taking out just bins and bins full of human remains, because that entire area is just littered with skeletons, just feet from the surface of the ground. And I was able to go into the actual basement of the music hall. It's just a ground floor that complete below all the stages, below where they hold all of the any background backdrops or anything. And it's just it feels like sand. It's soil that is very, very, very dry, and you can see bones poking out of it in certain locations still. So,
Now,
uh,
did you get to do the Sorg Opera House?
no, I have not been able to do the Sorg Opera House. I have driven past it and taken pictures, but I have not been inside of it.
That was the first place I ever actually got to do. And matter of fact, Tim Shaw, who was in the chat room, was there with me, and he taught me how to wear the Pampers and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mentioned to Tim that we mentioned him earlier in the show.
Well, you can't do a show unless you mention Tim. Period. That's on the top of the list of the rules. So, but our time is just scooting right on by. So I want to kind of catch some of this other stuff up. Indiana, what is one of the most active places in your book, Haunted Hoosier Halls?
In the book, the most active place? That's a very good question. Um, Ironically, I'm not going to say it's anywhere on IU's campus. So I'm going to say out of everything, it's either going to be the Story Inn or the Crump Theater. One of those two.
The Story Inn. That's
The
kind.
Story Inn.
Isn't that out in the country?
It is. It's in Brown County.
Yes, not too far from where I believe Karen. It's where her mom and dad lives. I believe it's just down the road from there, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We all got to go over there to her house and have a big cookout one time.
Oh, fun.
And it is out in the boondocks. So, but it was real nice. Everybody had a great time. We was doing that because we were all going to do the Crump Theater.
Mm-hmm.
And you've done the Crump?
I have been there several times, yes.
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 How haunted is the Crump?
I won't say it's the most haunted place, but you'll probably get some activity there when you visit. There's several different entities that are said to haunt the building. No one knows exactly why. The most frequently encountered ghost is the man in the brown suit, who is an African American gentleman who haunts what is now the storage rooms, but when he was alive, it would be where the segregated seating was located.
That's like the Sorg. The Sorg Opera House also had a segregated seating up in the balcony. So they had some of the same stuff like that there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He is by far the phantom that people see, and he's a full-bodied apparition. People have seen him walk into there. One person opened the storage room door to find him standing on the other side, and he just took a step to the right and faded into the inky darkness of the storage room.
Nice room to get out of the way.
Yeah. People have had their hair not pulled but lifted up, kind of like static electricity, except for they'll have just one or two strands out of their entire head stick up straight. People have heard sounds, footsteps rattling on the air ducts up there, although the air would be turned off. The sound of rain when it's not raining outside. Those are the most commonly attributed things to the storage room. There's also a girl that is said to, a female spirit who is said to haunt the dressing rooms, which are directly underneath the stage. And I've actually, the only time I've ever been touched was I got a good jabbing poke in my left shoulder blade by something. And it was during Paranormal Fest, I think 2009, before my book was out. I was just there as an attendee. And listening to somebody talk about the history of the Crump and the ghost hunts he had done there, and I could feel this jab in my shoulder blade. And I look around behind me to, I knew there was one woman who was standing behind me, but she was actually to my right, not to my left. But she saw the indentation of the hoodie go down and press down, and she was white as a sheet. And she immediately just started taking pictures of my back, and people were looking at my back. It was really kind of embarrassing when you think about it. People taking pictures of your behind, but it's what happened.
Well, I don't think they were shooting that far down. I think
I hope not.
unless you were really, unless it was the guy, not the girl, who poked you. Then
No, but the story of the girl in the dressing room basement is very popular because it apparently scared a electrician's apprentice when back in 2002 when the building was being reopened to be used as a historic theater. Rovaine Quigley is the events manager there. She was talking to the electrician who was checking out all the cable to make sure the Crump wasn't going to burn down if somebody turned on a toaster. So he had an apprentice who actually went down and was reading, I guess, the electricity and making sure he knew which wires were live and which ones were not, and inspecting the wiring. And he apparently, this apprentice, walked right into and met face to face with this female spirit. And it startled him so much that he finished doing whatever he had to do and hurriedly ran up stage left staircase and got out of there.
at least he's finished his job. I mean,
Yeah, at least he
Yeah,
finished.
stayed and
I-
finished. Yeah.
I say kudos to him. But there's also EVP people have picked up. I know I've seen a video of what looks like a misty silhouette of a person walk out of the storage rooms on the balcony, and you can see him push down his hand on one of the cushions for the chairs because they're the ones that automatically pop up, just like in any theater. You can see it fold down, and then he sits in it and disappears. And this video is taken by Midwest researchers and investigators of paranormal
When he
activity.
disappears, does the seat stay down or does it pop
It
back up?
stays down.
So they didn't
but-
think to just go sit next to him and say, what do you think of the show?
I don't think they did that. I think they were just stunned that they captured this on video. But I know people have gotten EVP of other parties that cannot be seen saying jump off the balcony. Yeah, it's a lot of interesting things go on at the Crump. I enjoy it thoroughly. I know there's a hat man. There's a shadow person that has a top hat. I'm sure you've heard of those being reported.
Top hats or shadow people?
Uh,
I've heard of both.
There's a kind of a subset of shadow people known as hatmen, and they show up. They look like normal shadow people, but they look like they're wearing a top hat or a bowler cap.
Yeah.
And I've seen one in my parents' house, actually, and then again at Mansfield Reformatory. And there's another one said to be at the Crump Theater. And one of my friends, when investigating, took a picture of the mirror in the ladies' room. And actually, it's in the powder area, powder lounge. It's not actually where all the toilets are. And there's a picture of a man wearing a bowler cap. You can see in the mirror. And the photo, she let me use it for the book.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now,
Now, you had some pretty good experiences at Mansfield
I have.
Reformatory Memory Service.
Yes.
That's a pretty active place, isn't it?
Yes. I will say anyone who has not been there, I will tell you there are a lot of bats that live there.
Yay!
we have a lot of bats floating around everywhere.
Yes. The Prospect Place Mansion was just as bad with the bats.
Really?
But yes. Oh, but I actually at Mansfield, I'm walking through back to the bullpen, and that's the HQ refreshment area of the penitentiary that groups use. And there's this one dark area, dark hallway that used to be the old intake area for all new prisoners. And I'm walking through and I have a LED flashlight and I must have disturbed a bat because it came right at me and I got a little bit of bat wing in my mouth.
Aw.
Oh yeah, it was like a Matrix moment. I'm slowly trying to bend out of the way and the bat's wing just manages to get into my mouth a little bit. Oh, that was disgusting. At Mid-South last year, I was talking to one of the caretakers at Mansfield, and he told me that bat's name is Igor. They've named the bats.
Oh,
Wow.
neat.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, Jim, I got to meet Igor. But at Mansfield, shadow person has popped up in front of me in the chapel. I was doing an investigation in the old, uh, the where there's the shower rooms. They're the old hole or the second hole, not the original place where they keep solitary confinement, but the newer place on the first level. And we were talking. I was in a group of 5 with only one man in it, and we were doing an EVP session, and there was a sensitive in our group, and she said she could feel male presence, and I'm like, yes, that's probably Chris, but which is the gentleman. But as we're asking questions about just life as an inmate, we asked some very sensitive questions about man-on-man action, I guess you can say.
Well,
Yeah, whoa. And we got the sound of weeping and crying out of one of the rooms
Wow.
right next to us. And it was the area where one of the men were killed. I believe it was one of the guards was killed in that area. Exactly the same place where we heard the weeping. And it was a man crying. It wasn't a female weep or moan. It was a man. And that was, I'm going to say, probably disturbing. Because you realize that these people were very much alive at one time, and they could very much be with you, and you're reliving traumatic events with them. It's you feel sorry for them.
Now, did Mansfield have a death chamber?
I do not believe so. They were a reformatory. They did not want to execute people. That prison actually is in Columbus on, I believe, the Citibank Arena now sits on top of it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Mansfield, no one was supposed to be executed there.
Yeah.
But how many deaths
however-
did occur?
And that one, I don't know off the top of my head. I know there are nooses that are original. They've never been taken down. That are on, I believe, the East Cell Block's attic, where they did used to house some inmates that were there for very petty crimes that they didn't think were going to be very aggressive. And it was bunks just like at summer camp would be in that attic. If you go further enough down, you can see the old nooses. And legend had it that some of the more problematic cases in the reformatory, the guards would do off with them.
In other words, what
None
happened
of
to
that's
him?
official record.
Yeah, what
This is
happened to him? I
completely
don't know.
urban legend.
He must have hung himself.
Yes, must have accidentally done it in the shower. There's also lots of wild geese, and people who have investigated with me will know the thing I am scared of the most is wildlife coming to attack me.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you were just scared of geese, which is, well, that's kind of funny in itself. But I mean, taking into account, it depends on how you approach them. Really, my mom was playing golf once, and near a water hazard were a number of geese that had a nest right there, and her ball and her friend's ball landed right by the nest. And my mother walked up, and she literally spoke to the geese, saying, "All I want to do is hit my ball, and I'll be out of your way." The geese just look at her. Mom hits the ball, goes away. Her friend just walks up to her own ball. The geese chased her with its mouth open because she didn't get permission.
Wow.
Right. Yeah.
Geese are often used as
Guardians
guardians or attack.
yeah.
Yeah, they're quite territorial.
Oh
Wow.
yeah.
Hmm.
And they can punch those wings.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
We had Canada geese back in the pond where I used to live in Montclair when I did animal control, and there was some kind of bacteria in the thing, and it started killing the geese. And sometimes, and occasionally, they'd get hit by cars. I'd have to pick them up. And there were times that they would just haul off and just whirl before you realized that you were, on your back, being punched across the head.
Wow.
Well, now, as I was saying about the your book, Haunted Hoosier Halls, it's a great book. So if you don't have it, you need to pick one up. And Kat's going to tell you in a little bit here where you can actually get a copy of it at. So
Yes.
now, did you go to Morrison Lodge in Elizabethtown, Kentucky?
Yes, I have been there.
Aha.
I love it.
Because I seen a picture on your page, and I said, that's Morrison Lodge. And I've been there, I don't know, 3 times, I think, something like that. So
Yes.
I'll be going back again, I think. I don't remember exactly when it is. It's in May, I think it is, I believe.
Okay. No, I love Morrison. I've ghost hunted there and the Shriners Church that's next door
back,
to it.
yeah, the one back behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And fascinating place. I really loved it.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is.
I encountered the little girl.
Did you?
That was, yes.
I believe her name's
Around, sorry?
Was it Sarah?
believe so. The little one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was there. I had just purchased a pair of mini dowsing rods, and I was, I guess, experimenting with them. And somehow, around 2:30 in the morning, we got this girl laughing. She was giggling at us and singing a little bit. And some of the Masons were with me by this time. Most of the paid the investigators that had paid to go on this ghost hunt through Mid South had left by then, and it was just myself and I believe Louisville ghost hunters were still there, the hosts, and then some of the Masons who had never done a ghost hunt before, and they were completely amazed to get this voice of a little girl who obviously physically wasn't in the building, but spiritually apparently was.
Cool.
All right, Cece, you got any more questions here?
Oh, I have a bunch.
Oh, well, time's run out now.
I know.
We've got over almost 15 minutes. Well, a little more.
Yeah, well,
Well, the one thing has being in the Midwest, such as you are, and on that river, whether you've had a chance to look at any of the riverboats.
I have not. I have managed to ride a riverboat. It didn't feel very haunted, but that is a really good question and something that should be looked into. One of the riverboats, the old ones, has been retired and I believe is permanently docked here, but I'm not sure.
Be a great place to start.
Yeah, and that one I would have to work through Newport or Covington, Kentucky, because all the riverboats are actually stationed on that side of the Ohio River, the Kentucky side. So
That's the
So we
side with
have-
bedding, correct?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
With bedding? What, for sleeping? What?
No, bedding as in
gambling.
gambling.
Oh, betting with a T.
I don't
Right.
believe gambling's illegal in Ohio, but
It
it
is.
is in Indiana
if you
and
go over to
Kentucky.
Indiana, yeah. You go down the river in Indiana, and you got about 3 casinos.
Isn't just living in Indiana a gamble? Oh, wait. No.
No,
No,
no. As long as you like corn, you're okay in Indiana.
Well, actually, I could tell you that, traveling through Illinois, you get to Indiana when the roads start improving.
oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
So you're saying the roads in Illinois are pretty bad, huh?
They're pretty bad.
Also, the speed limit goes up,
Very bad.
like 65 to 70 in Indiana.
That's fixing to do that here in Ohio too, hopefully. Yep.
Well, that's because most of the original highways were actually designed for that velocity, and the false energy crisis in the 70s when they dropped it down to
55.
55 was just nonsense. I mean, apart from essentially using more gas by going slower
Hmm.
and getting into traffic jams because no one was getting home in time.
Yeah.
And also, we can go back to Indiana, and again the urban legends. Phi Kappa Tau,
Okay. Yeah.
I think you mentioned in your book, and also the girl being dumped in the basement, which I guess is actually more tunnels.
Yeah. Okay. Phi Kappa Tau is a fraternity, I believe. There was a few of them that I had to write about, but they are the ones that have managed to pop up. Yeah, Phi Kappa Tau pop up in numerous ghost stories.
Hmm.
I don't know if their fraternity's haunted or just has bad luck, but they've managed to have two of the locations that are horribly, horribly haunted be their fraternity houses. And none of the hauntings are actually attributed to them. They just happen to live there. The first one was the Buskirk Showers Mansion, which is now a lawyer's office, and no paranormal group can ever get in there to investigate, even though stuff does apparently still happen there. The other one being what is now the Career Development Center, or the CDC, on IU's campus, and that's the one that had the doctor that would perform illegal surgeries on women back before the 70s, to a lot of the co-eds that liked the boys a lot. So that one is the CDC is IU will definitely not comment on if that place is haunted or not. I've been there a few times. The staff won't talk about it, which is funny because Indiana University is the first university with a folklore department and generally takes their hauntings pretty well in stride. They'll they used to actually have a ghost tour, a historical ghost tour through the campus. But with regards to the CDC, you have the girl who died on the operating table who is said to haunt it. You have the original owner who is said to haunt the basement after he committed suicide using a gun. You have the doctor who did the surgeries who hung himself from the top banister. And he's the one most people see or get touched by. And
Now
he has to be something scary.
there's also a an asylum near Bloomington, isn't there?
You mean Central State?
State?
Yeah. That is in Indianapolis proper. It's about an hour away. I haven't been able to ever visit it. It actually does house the Indiana University Medical Museum, which I want to go to because I like things like that, all creepy.
Just seeing lots of pointy, sharp things.
Yeah, pointy sharp things, tumors and formaldehyde from the 19th century, Siamese twins, all sorts of stuff like that. And I'm like, ooh, that's fascinating and macabre. And my husband's like, oh no, I'm not going to do that because I want to keep my lunch. So,
Do it before lunch.
yeah, do it before lunch. Bye bye breakfast.
Yeah.
The rest of the Central State building, there have been rumors that it has been purchased, will be torn down, and eventually turned into apartments. This has been around for about a decade, and nothing has yet happened.
That's odd.
I don't know if it's just slow going. I don't know the story. I don't live in
What-
Indianapolis, so I don't have.
What is it about places that are reputably so well known as haunted, really active, especially with a lot of like the suicides you're talking about? What is it about that area that everyone wants to just, oh, I've had enough? But
I want to make condos out of that.
yeah, let's make condos out of these places that people are getting, weeping men and screaming whatever and pokes and stuff. I'm like, they're doing the same with Linda Vista Hospital locally here. It's been bought out by a developer. I was one of the last investigations through there, and the developer ran into some kind of legal problem, so they're making the psych ward, which apparently is supposed to be even more haunted than the regular hospital, into the apartments first. Then they're going to try and get to the main hospital, but they're going to gut the place and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, nothing, calms it goes down more than renovations.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know
it's
how that
just like
goes.
the Charles Gate Hotel in Boston, one of the most haunted locations, and also some of the most prime real estate in the Back Bay area of Boston. And I actually have it on my list of places that you would love to investigate, but just can't. And that one's been said to be haunted for almost more than a century now. But no one has ever done a private investigation of any of the residences there. So, yeah, with Central State, it's very spooky. The director that I worked with when I was filming Ghost Stories 4, Dan T. Hall, he made a paranormal documentary before the one I was in called just Central State. And it's a fantastic video to watch, and had all sorts of weird things go on while filming, faces appearing in curtains, shadow people, orb phenomena, you name it. He has a lot of stories from filming there. I believe he was the last person who legally filmed on the premises too. But don't hold me to that claim. That's just
Well,
what I heard.
Time has just run right on by us. So, I got a few things that I want to do, and then I'm going to give everybody a chance to give all their details and information and all the other good stuff. But the Paranormal View does have a couple announcements to make. This is our last show. I scared everybody, didn't I?
My heart stopped. That was April Fool's was last week, Henry.
No.
Yeah,
but
it was. Actually, it was last week.
I do.
All right.
I do want to let some people know some things here. Craig Rupp has stepped down from being host here on the Paranormal View. He wanted to take some time off. That doesn't mean that he's not going to be back. In a few months, he will, from time to time, come in and be a fill-in co-host for us. Now, because of that, we have done some other things. I think everybody liked Kat Klockow. She is a very, very good talker. She's a good author, and she gets to travel a lot. And she's going to be getting a whole lot of good guests for us, because Kat Klockow is now going to be on the Paranormal View team as a co-host.
Thank you, everyone.
Yay!
I'm so excited.
And Cece, also known as Barbara Duncan, is also going to be with the Paranormal View as a fill-in co-host for us, because there's going to be lots of times when Jeff or Kat can't be here, and Cece is going to be jumping right in. So we want to welcome Kat, and we want to welcome Cece to the Paranormal View. Yay!
Yay!
All right.
And there was much rejoicing.
So I hope y'all really lift these guys up and give them support, and stand in there with them, because they're both good, and they're really going to help the Paranormal View. So because I can't ask all these questions, I mean, now I'll have somebody else that can ask a few. So with that, though, since our time is running right on down, before we give everything, I'm going to give Kat a chance and Cece a chance to say anything that they'd like to say. So, Kat, won't you go first?
Okay. Well, hello, everyone. And I have a few convention announcements to make and a fun Urban Legends not TV show, internet show to announce. The first one is the Urban Legends Tour, which is, if you like the ghost stories and stories of the strange and spooky from around Cincinnati and the Midwest, and hopefully further than that, I will be starting the show Friday, the 13th of April, with Bloody Mary being the first topic. Now, if anyone has their own Bloody Mary legends that they would like to share, you can email me at my web address, katklockow@gmail.com. That is spelled KATKLOCKOW at gmail.com. If you have a Bloody Mary legend that you would love to share with me, I am all ears. I have a few conventions that I'll also be going to, a few in May, and then one in July and one in August. The first one coming up is Frontier Paracon at the Haunted Stanley Hotel from May 4th through the 6th. And if you Google Frontier Paracon, you will find all of the event information. I am very excited because I am a guest speaker. I'll be talking about urban legends from around the United States, probably black-eyed kids and getting more Bloody Mary stories. I just love Bloody Mary. Um, she's so freaky. Anyway, the second event is Paranormal Fest at the Crump Theater, my little home away from home in Indiana. That is May 18th and 19th, and yet again, I will be a guest there. I'll be at my booth selling copies of my book and showing clips from my new internet show. The other events I'll be at are both meet and greets, which mean they are free for you guys to come in and talk to everyone at. The first one is the Haunted Hannah House in Indianapolis, Indiana, August 11th. The meet and greet is from noon to about 4 p.m. And the second one is Willow's Weep Paranormal Meet and Greet, and that is July 21st, and I am a guest at that. And Willow's Weep is a fairly new haunted location that has become open to the public. And that is it, except for my mention of my website, www.huntforghosts.com. I just uploaded a whole bunch of photos from the Saddamsville Rectory here in Cincinnati, Ohio, along with some questionable audio that I have collected. Is it EVP? Is it not? I would love to hear what you guys think. And that's all I have. So I'm going to turn it over to Cece.
You can find me in the ParaX chat room most of the time, or just look up on the ceiling. I should be there, maybe in a corner. Maybe you'll see me, maybe you won't. Leave out some cheeseburgers. Check over to my Facebook page if you want to see some great cemetery photography, which I hope to have posted onto a different website soon. So keep your fingers crossed. Back to you, Henry.
Oh, so quickly.
We're efficient like that, Henry.
Well, you left out Jeffrey. Jeffrey's got at least
no.
4 minutes worth of stuff.
No, actually, my own website is jeffgould.net, GEOFFGOULD.net. And if you add /2011PNV.htm, that's my hub for all the reports I do on the various Paranormal View editions. You can read the topics and links to their book. In fact, Kat's book, Haunted Hoosiers, link will be on that page, as well as to her website and her graphic novel, Mary Gray, which she completely forgot to mention, and links to CC's Facebook, because apparently you can't find Barbara Duncan. There are too many of them.
There's a lot of us. Yes.
Some sort of a cull. We need to do some sort of a cull. If you want to have your own Paranormal View paraphernalia and attire, you can go to cafepress.com/realbadgershop, all one word. And the Paranormal View's website is theparanormalview.com. And just do a search on Facebook for Paranormal View. There we are. And I'm at Facebook. You can just add facebook.com and add jeffrey.gould, and there I am. Hooray. And my name is GEOFFREY, like Jeffrey Rush or Jeffrey Giraffe. I don't spell it the American way, just so you know.
And you also have theparanormalview.com, where I try to post our upcoming show. And
at least once a month. Oh, wait.
Yeah, well, I've been a little slow, but, I'm going to get better at it. We're still working on some things. You'll have bios on there, and we'll be adding Kat's and CC's on there, so you'll be able to go on there and see everything. And if you're looking for Barbara Duncan on Facebook, you can go find me on Facebook and go to my friends. Barbara is in there, and you can click on that and add her through that. So you can do the same with Kat Klockow, too.
Yeah, I'm at
And actually the-
facebook.com/Kat Klockow.
Yep.
And I believe Ceiling Cat's name on Facebook is Ellen.Smithy,
Smithy, yeah.
Smythee,
Which Jeff would get the joke.
I do get the joke. I think that's brilliant.
Well, with that, our time has just slipped right on by. Next week, I will have a guest lined up. I'm not sure exactly who yet, but I now have a whole bunch of people that's out looking for them, so I'm sure we will have somebody for next week. So, until then, it's about time for us to jump off, and I want to thank everybody for listening tonight, those here on Para X and those listening from around the world. And I want to thank Kat Klockow. Great job. And thanks again, Cece and Jeffrey. And so we're going to be jumping off. And this is Henry Foister.
Jeffrey Gould.
Kat
Ceiling
Klockow.
Ceiling Cat.
All right. Good night, everybody.
We're leaving. We're gone. Paranormal View. Come back and visit us again if you dare. You've been listening to the Paranormal View on the Para X Radio Network.